Yo guys, I'm HP, this is Dr. Pink, and today's topic is guitar secrets, learning, enjoying mastery. 3 chapters about your guitar journey, and there are 3 chapters because there are, I would say, 3 phases in your guitar journey: the learning, enjoying, and mastery phase. And what makes me qualified to talk about all these chapters, I dedicated my whole life to music. I was a professional piano player already at the age of 20, and there I started to learn guitar at that age, and I had so much fun with the guitar that I switched to guitar, and since then I'm playing guitar the whole day. During my studies till the age of 30, I practiced between 10 till 16 hours daily, including the weekends. I studied music on a university level. Today you would call it a master degree. At that time it didn't exist when I finished my music education. But the school where I was is today part of the Zürcher Hochschule der Künste, which is basically music university. And I'm teaching, performing, composing, playing since ever. And so I have a few insights which I want to share today to you. And I wish my teachers told me all this stuff. Well, some of them my last teacher told me, but we'll come back to this later. So, there are 3 parts here in this little speech here. As I said, we have the beginning, learning. It's for all those who just start to play guitar till around the first 6 till 12 months. Then the second part, enjoying, is from then on till indefinite. And the last part is for those who really want to master the guitar or really want to have this vision of becoming a professional guitar playing, being a guitar master, whatever. And there are a few tips or things which I can share. And of course, what I'm talking about here represents only my personal view, because my personal, let's say, concept of teaching is that every person is individual. You know, there's not a certain way which a person has to learn. Every person is different, and there are several ways which work out. But I just compress all my experience and my knowledge, and from 35 years of teaching to what I'm talking about here. And more or less, it's valid for most of you guys out there. But if it doesn't resonate to you, then you just go another way. That's how it is. Good. Let's start first. Learning. The first 6 till 12 months. You decided to play guitar. You want to play guitar. You never played before. You bought your first guitar. Now, what shall be expected, or what are the main tips which you need to know, or the main insight? And this is what I'm telling to all students who come with the same thing. I want to learn guitar. I start from 0. I say, well, the first 6 months, I made the first step because I can remember in 3 months, but I practice 2 hours daily to get through this phase. But the regular thing is like 3 till 6 months. The first part is just this pure discipline. You have to, the more regular you do the exercises which your teacher is giving to you, or you got to get from this channel here, the better. When you make interruptions, like you play 2 weeks and then I'm tired, I'm going to make a week break, it can happen that your level drops back to the beginning, and you really need to keep it going. Your fingers will be hurting, you probably will be frustrated because it's not sounding well, and the first steps are really just to get these chords sounding. And the regular chords, you know, these open string chords, you can make them in 1 month, you can 1 till 3 months if you practice them regularly. And from then on, if you use one of those, if you're a singer, all these singer-songwriter people who use this, they went through this phase, and then you just can move around the different keys just by using something like this. And for those who just want to sing and play, that's enough. But if you want to become more flexible, then the next step, there's a really hard cliff, is the barre. This one here. Any type of barre where you cover several strings with one finger is really a task, and it takes a while till your hand and your whole system adapts to the exact position which is needed that these chords are worked out. Or also when you start soloing, you know, till the coordination works, till your fingers don't hurt anymore, and till somehow your fingers don't do all this crazy stuff which happens to most beginners. It's really hard, and their discipline is needed. Do it slowly, regular. Don't think about, just say, okay, I invest at least 6 months in this discipline every day. Better 10 minutes every day than 1 hour on the weekend. And then suddenly one day you think, I will never be able to do this. Suddenly it works. And as soon as you can do the barre, I mean the barre, you know, like in, you know, just doing a kind of a chord progression and using the barre, and don't have this interruption to build up the chord, then you overcame the real big cliff. Now, once you can do that, then till there's no mean about talking about genres, you know, because this is really, if you want to ride a bike, you first need to sit on the bike and do this and keep the balance before you can even think about going somewhere, you know what I mean? And that's how it is, unfortunately. And I've seen people who failed because they didn't practice regularly, but most of them go through this, but the barre is really a task. And but it works. One day suddenly it works, and then from then on you're free. Then you can enter phase number 2. Phase number 2 is enjoying. This is from the intermediate playing level till semi-professional, professional, any kind of level in between. You pass the first things, you know, just the basics. Now you're able to play chord progressions in any key. You're able to play solo somewhere on the fretboard, at least in one position. And that's the minimum requirements which are needed to start to enjoy music. And most students, which I experienced in all my years of teaching, they always came with the same question or the same vision. If I can do this, then I can do that. If then is the path to really unhappiness. I can say from my own experience. If you think, if I can play this, if I only could play this, if I only could play this, then I can do this, then I can do this. This is a good to keep the motivation up, of course, because you practice, you want to be somewhere. And you know, the if then always pushes you. That's a good thing, but it also can have negative impact. The if then thinking, that you lose the joy in playing, and you will not last very long with the if then thing, because you're going to be really frustrated. I mean, I know it. My last guitar teacher, I always came with if then. He always said to me, hey, relax, and he was basically just building up my motivation and not showing me things anymore, because I was about to pressure myself too much, and somehow I nearly broke from the pressure I put on myself to get somewhere. Instead of enjoying the journey, I was playing a lot in bands and stuff like that, at festivals, and I was always unhappy. I never enjoyed one performance because I always thought, if I could only do this, then, you know, instead of enjoying. That's the worst thing you can do. But the if then is of course good, because it keeps you going. So you need to divide that's a trick which I found out and which I teach to all my students. Divide your time which you spend on guitar in two parts. Discipline, joy, enjoying. Discipline is the if-then thinking. You can do that there. That's cool. Do technical exercises, try to get better, push your limits more and more. Always go to the red zone to push it more. Than after a while the red zone becomes orange, then green, you know, always push your limits. That's good with the if-then thinking. But also, and that's really important, never forget what music is about. It's about enjoying. And you probably know this song. Rumble from Link Ray is this guy called, I think. Or many songs which we know as popular songs. When you listen to them, you think, I mean, as a pro, you think, I mean, these are bass. This guy probably could only do 3 chords, but he wrote the hit. And that's exactly the thing. Music is not about competition. Music is also not about being the hero on guitar. Music is about doing music and enjoying and having something to say. You can say cool things with just a few notes. If that is what you have to say, then it's cool. Try to also figure out what you have to say at the moment. Don't push it with the if-then thinking. Try to stay in the moment and just enjoy what you're doing. I mean, I've seen many students come. I'm playing all the same things all the time. It's so frustrating. This comes also from the if-then thinking, you know. I mean, if you play, I still enjoy playing the A minor pentatonics because I try to always stay in the moment of the note. I teach this to my students. I say, live in the tone. Try to enjoy the tone at itself, or the chord at itself. Try to shape it the way you want. You know? And try to make music even with the simplest things you're doing. And also try to get things out of your guts. You know, when you go into a rhythm, always try to make something out of simple things. And then you, with the discipline part, you can start to enlarge the possibilities of expression, but still in the vibe of enjoying, you know. That's really extremely important. Otherwise, I can tell I've seen many students being frustrated, many, including myself. And I wished, through all my years of unhappiness on the guitar, I always thought I'm not good enough. I still have this if-then thinking, you know. Sometimes I think I'm the worst guitar player ever. And sometimes when I have a good day, I think, okay, somehow I can play, but it's nothing special, you know. But when you go into these thoughts, it doesn't work. When you go into music, and I also have the same experience, and I say, oh, wow, that was great. That was the best thing I ever played. Even I played 2 notes, which any other guy also could do. You know, it's a psychological thing. Unfortunately, the most for my students, those who are too hard to themselves, they're mostly the ones which play quite well, but they suffer so much from the pressure which they put on them, you know. Even they play really cool stuff, and also when you put yourself so much under pressure, then you can hear that you're not really able to sit on one note and enjoy it. It's really important. And this is for all players, intermediate till any level above, you know. As that's the main trick. Build up your knowledge, work on your, also find out which are your weak parts, which are your strong parts. I can tell when I hear a player which which genre fits to a player and which not. You know, you can hear it from mostly from the first three notes. You already know, okay, this works, this doesn't work so much. But that doesn't mean you should not go for that, because I mean, you can see with tennis players, I used to play tennis, some players had a certain style, which was really this style, but they still tried to work on the weak spots, because again, pushing the limits, you know, pushing the limits. The more you, I mean, if you're still okay with the weak parts, then this gives you more security in your strong parts, that you cannot fail anything there, you know. But if you know, okay, I'm just playing my parts and I know this thing I cannot do, you know. And by the way, the main difference between a good amateur player and the professional player is the professional player knows exactly what he can do and what he cannot do, you know. But that's part of the journey. Know your strong parts, accept your weak parts, and still work to get them better, you know. Yo, that was the enjoying part. Now we're coming to the last part, the mastery. For those who really want to get to the qualm of guitar playing, what is mastery? That's a good question. What exactly is mastery? I would define it this way. It's a moment, or sometimes it can be a phase in your life or in your guitar life, where you control the guitar and you master the guitar, not the guitar masters you. There's a big difference, you know. And the thing is, I mean, at least from my personal experience, it's not a constant feeling, you know. You try. I mean, you can see all these guys who play great. They have a night when they play like, whoa, that was it. You know, that was a moment of mastery. And you hear them on another. You could take Gary. I mean, I'm a huge Gary Moore fan still. He had performances where he was quite okay. Still okay, it's Gary Moore, but some performance was like, whoa, that was it, you know. And I would say that's the difference between playing very good and mastery. Mastery is a moment where you, in fact, can master the guitar and not the guitar you. I always used to ask my last guitar teacher was Juan Martinez. He's not really famous, but he used to be a very good guitar player. And I asked him, when I was a student at university, I said to him, when will I said to him, I'm playing the whole day. Every weekend, I'm playing 16 hours per day. When will the moment be when I finally master the guitar? Then he said to me, when did you start? At the age of 20, and there was 25. And he said, well, my guitar teacher, Juan said to me, takes 15 years till you get to the experience that you can master the guitar and you can play anything you want, seamless and just out of the intuition. Takes 15 years. And that was, of course, for me very frustrating. I was 25, this is 10 more years. I don't want to wait so long. He said to me, well, it's frustrating, but I had this experience in the 15th year. All the gates opened, and then it was possible. And I must say, same to me. When I was 35, suddenly all the gates opened. I could, you know. And then we come back to what I said before. Enjoy what you're doing, you know. Don't think so much about this. And when it comes to mastery, when you have complete control over what you're playing, you know, you can play out of the intuition and everything works out great. Your tone is perfect and everything is perfect. I would call it the moment where time stands still. Then it doesn't happen all the time, you know. So then you always think about the enjoy. Enjoy what you're doing. don't think so much, don't pressure yourself, work with a lot of discipline on your things, that you have the ability, that your body and your fingers, you have the ability to play all these things which you want to do, and then, but the rest only happens in your head, you know. Paco de Lucía, probably you guys know it, was the most famous flamenco guitar player. He once said, you know, and he was an amazing player, perfect player. He said, well, you know, it's 90% is only discipline, 10% is talent. And I would also say that. I mean, if you don't do your work and your practices and all that stuff, you don't have the ability to do that. But if you do, then the last 10% is also a mental thing, you know. Think about music, think about what is the meaning of perfection, you know. What is the meaning of perfection? Is there something perfect? I would say to accept imperfection is the way to perfection. You can have a perfect moment where you can express something which really fitted to that specific moment. That will be mastery, and it's not tied up to something you have to play, you know, 16 notes with 200 BPM, runs up and down. I mean, you can listen to these guys who can do that, but it has no emotional impact, you know. And also, you know, mastery is also thing. Some people think I want to be the best player in the world. Everybody wants to be that if you invest your whole life into guitar playing. But it's also to accept there's always somebody out there, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20, which play better than you. You know? So it's not about a competition. It's about master your guitar in a time sense where time doesn't really make a difference anymore. You know, it's a moment where time just stands still and you just have you know, you call this in the psychological thing a flow. It's just about, you know, music cannot be measured in speed or something. It's about the flow and that you're able to express exactly what you wanted to do in that specific moment. And I will call that the mastery, and that has nothing to do with speed. Has nothing to do with you're able to play Paganini capricces. I worked long on Paganini capricces on the guitar. They're really tough. I still do that for fun, but they're really tough. It's nothing to, I mean, for those guys who can play that in the regular speed, it's cool. But accept that you are just, let's say easy, a guy with a guitar. You just try to express what is meant for you, and that's the true path to mastery. And then suddenly a new gate opens up, and you get. I experienced it a few times, and the longer I play, the more these moments happen, and it's really that's what it's about. I would say that is mastery, you know. But the main key is always enjoy and never think that the journey ever stops, because it doesn't. You always keep it going. It's because I would say music is a metaphysic thing. Has a lot to do with spirituality. When you get into this zone of music, you know, when you get in the outer limits of music, then you recognize that music has something very metaphysic. Why does a note mean that note in that specific moment? Things that can be discussed over hours, but I won't do this now. I just want to tell you that music in this fragment of your development has a really strong metaphysic aspect, and that's, from my point of view, would lead to mastery. Good. I hope you enjoyed my little tips. I really always try to encourage my students to enjoy what they're doing, whatever level they are in. But the first part is hard for everybody. The learning, the first 6 months, I must say, I'm glad I passed them. I still remember them. So that's a big plus for my students, that I still remember my first phase, because I started so late. Good. Think about this. It's just my opinion, my view. Maybe it resonates with you. If not, it's also okay, I'm not the guy who invented all this. I'm just trying to do my personal guitar journey and share my knowledge to you guys who are interested in. Okay, see you guys.